And the hostage situation in the war in West Asia remains grim. The truce between Israel and Hamas militants, it gave a ray of hope for those captured during the October 7th attacks by Hamas. But since the truce ended on the 1st of December, the world leaders are attempting to resume negotiations, although there might be a setback in their attempts after new allegations made by Israel on hostages being drugged and of sexual violence committed against women during the October 7th attack on Israel. Let's read more about this latest claim made by Israel. Well, according to Israel's health ministry, Hamas militants drugged the hostages who were released during the ceasefire. Well, they said that they did so because they wanted the captives to look happy during their transfer to the Red Cross in Gaza. Well, Israeli ministry officials told the lawmakers at a hearing of the Knesset Health Committee that the captives were tranquilized as a part of the militant group's propaganda to make it seem like the hostages were treated well. Moreover, according to the head of the health ministry's medical division, the hostages were administered a drug called clanzapam. Now, this drug, it is a mood-enhancing drug used to treat seizures and panic disorders. This was a drug which was given to the Hamas captives. Now, there are more disturbing allegations made by Israel. Well, according to reports, an Israeli women's rights campaigner, sexual assault was also a part of an atrocities-filled rampage by Hamas and other Gaza militants. They say that they saw footage of women in several locations whose condition left them in no doubt that they had been raped multiple times. Israeli police say that they have so far gathered more than 1,500 testimonies from witnesses and medics regarding this. Let's now take a listen to the head of Israel's women's rights group on what she says about the disturbing allegations of sexual violence on the Hamas militants made by Israel. Take a listen.
The denial of the atrocities committed by Hamas on Israeli women by women's organizations around the world is a denial not only of our humanity, but of the values that we have all worked so hard to bring to light. As a woman who's not only Israeli, but also American, and also heads a women's rights organization, it is shocking and deeply painful to have other women's organizations not recognize what has happened to us, not share in our pain, and not share in our stories. It needs to change now.
And after campaigners in Israel alleged the gender-based violence during the Hamas attack, U.S. President Joe Biden has called for global condemnation of what he said was horrific sexual violence by Hamas. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that he had heard stories of sexual abuse at a meeting with hostages returned by Hamas. And while addressing women's rights and human rights organizations over alleged sexual violence by Hamas, Netanyahu says, "Where the hell are you?" Well, we just took a look at the allegations made by Israel. Now, let's tell you about the allegations made by released Palestinians who allege of mistreatment in Israeli prisons, released under a prisoner hostage exchange between Israel and the Hamas militants. Well, former Palestinian detainees, they describe their stay at the Israel prisons, which was endured with beatings, deprivation, and a radical worsening in conditions in Israeli jails. The released women prisoners, they also claim that they were denied basic needs which they require for themselves. And despite the daunting conditions described by both Israelis and Palestinians, it's been over a month since the war has been going on, which started on October 7th. That is when Hamas attacked Israel. They took with them around 240 people. Hostages from Israel were taken by the Hamas militants and are held hostage in Gaza. The hostages are from more than 40 countries, and they include people from all ages, from a child to an elderly. They are among the hostages who have been held captives by the Hamas militants. Of these 240 hostages taken in by Hamas militants on October 7th, around 105 Gaza hostages have been released so far. And this was during the Qatar-mediated truce, which ended on Friday. Meanwhile, Israel released around 240 jailed Palestinians They were released under the hostage prisoner swap, which was again mediated by Qatar.